There's a bit of bad blood between UKIP and the CBI. The party said today the CBI had a ludicrous sense of entitlement reminiscent of trade union leaders in the 1970s. I don't think they were meaning that as a compliment. Well, the party's economic spokesman is Patrick O'Flynn, and he's here. Evening to you.
Good evening.
When did you suddenly learn all this anti-business thing? There's business bashing. Your website's full of it.
We're not anti-business at all. What we're against is the excessive power of very big businesses, multinational corporations, and, as I say, the exaggerated sense of entitlement and the lack of self-awareness. I mean, these guys seem to want the public realm to pay for everything.
Well, like what?
To avoid taxation. Well, they want more childcare schemes.
Well, that's not for the businesses, that's for the public, that's for the mums, isn't it? The mums and dads.
They want unlimited open-door immigration, bringing people in often to pay near the minimum wage, and as you will have observed during party conference season, not just UKIP but the Lib Dems and the Conservatives now are wanting to move to a position where no one on the minimum wage pays any income tax at all. So we have this missing tax revenue, don't we? We have this big hole, despite finally some decent economic growth. And I believe that the cosy cartel of corporate Britain has a major role in that. And
but
some of those companies
are
not paying their way.
So you want business to pay higher tax? Because I thought you were like getting government off the back of business.
No.
But now
we want to rebalance. We want to be on the side of the people. We want to be on the side of entrepreneurs,
right. So
of small businesses, medium-sized enterprises.
Not big businesses.
Well, the very big multinationals are, you know, excessively taking advantage of aggressive tax avoidance schemes. There's no doubt about that.
Well, and I don't want
that to be a point that is purely a left-wing point, because I don't think it should be.
Why should we trust you to say what is in the interest of the country, rather than, say, Nissan cars, who employ thousands of people, export loads of apparently very good cars?
Nissan cars, fantastic.
Very keen, incidentally, on the EU. Now, why would we trust you?
Britain is a great place for Nissan cars. We've got a great workforce up there. They're doing well. They're making cars.
But they say that's because it's partly an EU-related thing.
Well, they said, or their head honcho some years ago said that basically almost said they'd be bailing out of Britain if we didn't join the single currency. Now, those guys at the top, the big companies, almost by definition, are happy with the economic status quo. They're in the big brands, the mega brands, they're making money. But our point is that the people who are full of enterprise, full of potential, are being frozen out. And you would expect us, I think, to have a bit of empathy for people who break down barriers to entry.
Yeah, sure. But 41% of people work in businesses that are bigger than 250 people, bigger than the category you're talking about. Have you personally had a real job in a real business? Or have you been, like me, a journalist? I think you're a journalist on the Daily Express.
I've certainly had a real job on the Daily Express, which was a real business run by a proper businessman. But
it was a journalist job, a journalist. Have you ever had a business job anywhere?
No, I haven't had a business job.
So why should we trust you to make judgments about what is in the interest of people who create wealth, employ people, export physical goods, export services, and who the vast overwhelming number of whom say we should stay in the EU because it's helpful?
Well, you're talking about the captains of industry, aren't you?
The captains of industry. You go down to the smaller businesses and it's rather evenly matched, and then you go to the bigger businesses, and the bigger the more likely they are.
Well, exactly. So it's the very biggest businesses.
It's not only the very big ones, though, is it?
Predominantly, it's the very biggest businesses.
And the medium-sized ones are
all cushy how they want it. In the meantime, we have the public realm, you know, massively in deficit. It's not surprising to me that they want to keep things how they are, because it's working for them.
Let's talk about tax, because you brought tax up, and it's an interesting one. And it is certainly true that the EU makes it easier for a big business to shuffle its money around between EU members in a way that it wouldn't be able to if it was the Cayman Islands outside the EU.
Yes.
If we came out of the EU and we said to any other company, you can't shuffle your money around now because we want to keep some of it, wouldn't they say, we're going to move to Frankfurt, so we're inside the EU, and then we can shuffle our money around and plan as we'd like? Why wouldn't they do that?
I think we need to be more confident about what Britain is in the world. Britain is a great place to do business. It's an incredibly stable society. It's got fantastic culture, fantastic place to live. A lot of
so you don't think tax makes a big difference to the way these companies behave? You don't think that all those companies have put their headquarters here, and who are using our accountants and our banks and the global services of which London is such an important hub? You don't think that the British tax system and the privileges it gives, you don't think any of that has anything to do with the way I think
it's important to be competitive in tax on a global scale. Right. But what I'm not prepared to do is to say that Britain can somehow compete with these tiny jurisdictions within the EU like Luxembourg. Of course Luxembourg is going to offer sweetheart deals. It's got a tiny amount of population. It's never going to get much corporation tax revenue if it's done on a per capita. So it's going to offer a ridiculous sweetheart deal with these large multinational corporations. And that means the public realm in this country misses out, and we have this great black hole in our revenues.
Patrick O'Flynn, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.